Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you the lead magnet that I created, what tools did I use to make it, why I actually chose to make this guide, and that way you could get an idea of why you should create lead magnets and how to create them and who you should be making your lead magnets for. So in this example, I just recently created my first lead magnet for my brand California Digital Nomad. What this is just a guide right here. This is for California National Parks Collector's Guide, and that's for people that want to collect the stamps, stickers, and maps. And that's what this guide is for. It's for people that want to collect these things as they go adventuring to different national parks. The reason I chose to make this guide was simply because I needed something like this right before I started actually going to different national parks. When I first started going to national parks, I didn't realize that you could collect stamps, stickers, and maps from each one of these locations. Somebody actually told me, there was some random stranger that just, I started talking to, and he told me all about it and told me the stories that were attached to these stickers and stamps that he had, and it got me interested into it. The reason I made this guide is to help other people who don't know about it, who don't know they could collect these things, and they don't know that you could get a passport, a national passport book like this one, or one of these three. And it just tells you where to get simple things like where to get these guides. You got the web link, where to get the stickers. Here's a table of contents. In this guide, I just have four main sections: where to get your national passport book, how to collect your cancellation stamps, collecting stickers and maps, and how to organize your collections. In each one of these sections, the table of contents will send you right there. So I make it really convenient. So once again, the reason I made this guide is for beginners, people that are just getting interested in exploring national parks, state parks, or historical monuments. This guide is going to help them get started with, parks they can go uh parks they could go visit in California. And here's actually a map, an interactive map, a really cool feature inside of Notion. And this is one reason I chose to create this guide with Notion rather than say like a Google Docs or a slide or something with Canva or many other tools. The reason I chose Notion is simply because, I could put all my text and then I could create these databases. This database, particularly the map one, I'm able to put pins for all the locations which there's a national park. Now, when I click on the or when I hover over one of these pins, I can see a little bit more details and which park that is. So that's Yosemite National Park. This one's Pinnacles, Sequoia National. And if I click into it, it opens up a page with a lot more details, a picture, a link to the main website, and then it's just a little bit backstory, some highlights, some fun facts. This is some cool stuff that I would have loved, and actually, I still appreciate this guide for myself. And when you create a lead magnet, you got to think about who is the lead magnet for? Is it actually something that people are going to use? Or is it just some random thing you're creating hoping that people would want it? In this example, I thought of myself as the target audience, somebody that's just starting out in adventuring or exploring national parks. I was my own target audience. And from, watching countless videos and doing lots of research, not intentionally as research, it was just to see what other people were asking, other questions. And a lot of people like to find stuff out like this. This is a really good sized market, and anybody that gets into, outdoor hiking, eventually they start looking at national parks. So there's a massive audience for this niche. It's just where along are they, and are they even interested in the whole collection aspect? Because not everybody will be, but maybe they just want this little interactive map. So when you create your lead magnet, create something that people would actually need. Go look at YouTube videos or TikTok videos. Go read blog posts on Medium or other people's websites and see what people are writing in the comment section, and they'll tell you, or they'll be asking the creators, the writers, tons of questions. And from those questions, you start understanding the type of help that people need in your niche. And this was simply one of those things. All right, so now we're looking at the product on Gumroad. I decided to list it on Gumroad. This is the cover image, and I added a second image. Just a little bit of visual of what's inside of these pages, and then a little picture of the interactive map, and then a screenshot of the actual workspace. Now if we go down, we got the title of this product, and then we got all the copywriting with just a couple of pictures. So this is the guide. This is the landing page for the guide. Now when we go back, first what I did was simply I wrote out this entire guide, right? So I wrote out the entire text, all the text for this guide, and then once I was done, I asked AI to help me fill in the gaps of anything that I was possibly missing, and it gave me a bunch of stuff. A lot of good stuff, a lot of just like unnecessary stuff, just bloat. So I had to like cut down on all the stuff that was added onto the guide and just leave what I wanted for this guide. And it just came down to these four things, getting the book, how to collect, collecting, and how to organize your collection. That was it. It was as simple as just four steps to get started. Where I spent most of the time was right here on this map. And I just created a database with all the national historic sites, the trails, the monuments, the national parks, the preserve, and recreation areas. Once I did, once I created the pages for each one of those, I added the location. So if you go to this location property, it'll show up on the Google Maps. And if I click into it, it'll actually take me to the location on Google Maps, and then I could go, click directions and it'll give me my directions. And once you put that location, that's actually going to be one of the properties where you could use to create these pins. So I'll go to my settings, go to the map by location right there. So that was it. Just use Notion. I use Notion to, house all the text. I use Notion AI to help me write and edit my whole guide. Once I was done with the guide, I created this table with all the parks. After I was done with the map and all the text, I started adding links. After, like, for example, this national parks website to shop for the books and a bunch of other stuff. I got all the links for the national parks. Let's see. For example, this one, Channel Islands National Park. Now I got the link for that one. I started adding all the links. And after the links, I started adding pictures. So like this is my picture right here. I took a couple screenshots of the actual books, pictures I didn't have. I created some more images on Canva. I just started detailing an entire guide, starting with the text. Then I started adding the links, adding the data, and adding my own pictures. And obviously, I sprinkled in a lot of my own story and opinions and thoughts. So that's me getting my first stamp. What I used was for the pictures was Canva. Once I started creating the lead magnet, I needed to get this cover image right here. And I already have a bunch of pre-existing cover images. So I created all these for other products I've already made or stuff I was just fooling around with, just, creating stuff over time. And I decided to use something I already had before. What I had was this cover guide, or I had this cover for my 10-minute newsletter writer, a product I'm selling for writing with AI. More or less, I wanted to just use this same design. So I duplicated this design. Where are we at? So I duplicate, there we go. Now we're right here. You could duplicate the page And all I did was remove this picture and added another picture. I removed these icons and changed it. I changed the wording. Eventually, these were the icons I got. So I removed those icons and placed other ones that relate to national parks and hiking. I also changed the title. I changed the wording right here. And then that one text or that image. See, I got rid of this image, but I more or less like the layout of it, and therefore I copied the layout. It's still on the side, it still has the shadow surrounding it. I personally think it looks clean and it looks good enough. And then once I created a YouTube video, I didn't really necessarily want just this. I added an image of myself. So that's just for my YouTube thumbnail. And then this is the thumbnail for the product. This actually goes up. And if you go back over here, see, this is the cover image. And if we go to the store, this is the thumbnail I'm talking about on Canva. So I just took the same image, I resized it to a square, and then I repositioned everything so it could fit inside this thumbnail. Now I have this thumbnail right there. So yeah, that it's as simple as that to create a guide. You just have to consider who is your target audience, and most of the time it could be yourself. The person you were previous to knowing the information you have now, or previous to having the experience you have now. Just think about one person that could use a guide that you could create, and then create the guide specific to that one person. Once you find out what kind of, or once you think of a guide you could create, just go ahead and choose a tool you want to use. And that could be something as simple as, Notion, Google, Canva, or a million other tools. If you're creating websites, use Framer, Webflow, a bunch of other ones. And then just create whatever the guide or the product it is you're creating. Once you're done doing that, then use something like Canva to create your cover images. That way you could display your product, showcase your product, and you could just play with the designs. So you don't have to always stick to one design. You could just change stuff up a little bit. Eventually you get ideas of other designs you could create. So I took another picture of myself and I removed the background. I think I was going to use this for my YouTube thumbnail, but I went with this one. And then if you ever get stuck with what to write or how to write, or it just doesn't sound too clear, just use Notion AI or any other AI to help you edit the text. You don't want AI to write all of your text because then it's gonna sound boring. You're not gonna like it, and most other people are not gonna like it. They're just gonna dismiss every future product you create. So just use AI to help you clarify in your messaging and whatever you wrote. All right, so that's it for this week. This is still week 2, and this is the first digital product I created for this brand. And to help me grow an audience, this is what I'm gonna use to help me grow an audience is people that are interested in national parks and in going exploring. This is gonna help me capture those leads and move them from to take them from one of those social media platforms onto my email list. That's the goal of this. To use this lead magnet to offer it for free, and all they have to do is punch in their email, submit, and they'll get the guide. When they get the guide, I get their email address, which means I get them on my I get their contact, so I could always send them newsletters as long as they want to receive them. And slowly over time, that'll help me build my audience on social media and help me build my email list. That's the goal of the lead magnet.